Everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international Wolverine author Mia Molson's The Missing, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook, coming soon, Missing 2, Double Expense, Double the Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based the life of Dave, including Thirst, Quiz of Pains, and King David Psalms, Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner, and check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, 50 podcast platforms in over 110 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, BitChute, Rumble. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, and more. We're here with an amazing Milwaukee-based music writer, radio host, and podcaster, 15 years in the indie music industry, former producer, writer, and content creator. He's currently at On Air Milwaukee, the largest digital media outlet in the city, and heard weekly on FM 102.1 as host of Love Local Radio. Also, founder of a website which has been around since 2014. It's a music website showcase talent in the Milwaukee area. Talk about that. Also, co-host of a podcast, Live, Ladies and Gentlemen, Plus Dudes in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. The amazing Milwaukee-based music writer, radio host, and podcaster, and also with On Air Milwaukee and the website Breaking and Entertaining the Multi-Talent, Allen Halas. Allen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for introducing me. That was an amazing introduction. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Good to join you, Mike.
Well, it's great to have you as well, too. And being in Milwaukee, of course, the Brewers are doing great. The Bucks nearly pulled it out, and hopefully it'll go to the World Series by the time this gets to air, too. So,
Yeah, we can only hope. It'll be it's been a fun season so far.
well, so far indeed as well, too. So you're a Milwaukee-based music writer, radio host, and podcaster. Spent 15 years in the indie music industry. You're currently with On Air Milwaukee, the largest digital media outlet in the city. You're heard weekly on FM 102.1 as host of Love Local Radio. You're the founder of Breaking and Entering, which has been around since 2014 as a music website showcasing the talent in the Milwaukee area. Also co-host of the Hustling Sideways podcast. Before getting on, Alan, tell us how you first got started.
Wow. So to go back, really, the earliest for me was I got my start making music. I thought I was going to be in a band. Me and my friend were, just playing music in our basement. And that was kind of the real start of me being super interested in music and just being part of that. I grew up skateboarding, listening to a lot of punk rock, listening to a lot of like hip hop after that. Thought I was going to make music as a hip hop producer. For a little bit, I was making beats for artists in Milwaukee in the city, and that was my first exposure to like local music and some of the artists that we were working with. Just networking with them through like MySpace and things like that back in the day. This is pre Facebook, pre everything.
Oh,
Really.
Jeff, I remember MySpace. That was the way to go.
Yeah. So that was my first real introduction to like making music, and then eventually just kind of phased out into covering music and writing about the artists that was interested in. I did a student radio show at Marquette University, and then after that, once I graduated, I had the website for it, and I was like, well, let's keep this going, because that was that era of finding music on blogs and finding different, artists online, and that was pre kind of like the advent of Spotify and SoundCloud and all of these things. So being able to showcase like here's all the talent, here's all of my friends, and put them on a website that people could find them in one spot was really the start of everything. So then that led into eventually like I was working a job full time at a bank, and I was writing on the side, and then those worlds kind of merged. And then in 2020, I was like, all right, I'm going to make a jump, and then launched into media full time. And then I've been with On Milwaukee for the last 2 years now.
Okay. And what was that one exact precise moment that simply went from making beats, creating beats, over to being a writer? What was that exact moment that prompted make a change?
I think it was just a shift in the landscape of like people were getting really good around me, and I didn't feel like I was super up to snuff. And so like that was part of it, was thinking like, I love being able to work with artists and write, all this great music that's coming out, but like I just didn't feel like my stuff necessarily had it. And I said, but I can write. I know I can do that, and I can turn that into a career for sure. I always, English came easy to me in school. Writing came easy to me in school. So just recognizing that I had that, and wanting to be able to be in the music industry and work on a high level was something that was important to me, and not feeling like I was just, you could make beats and hope that somebody becomes famous, or you could have access to all of these concerts and all of these artists. And I kind of saw that world was open for me, and there was a lane to get there. So I've just kind of kept doing my own thing and eventually found my way there.
It certainly had done a great job with that. And who are some of your favorite artists, singers, songwriters, and musicians growing up?
Growing up and still, my favorite band is the punk band NoFX. They are definitely one of my favorite bands of all time. I still love the Ramones. We'll listen to, as far as hip hop, the group Jurassic 5 was very early. Like I was super influenced by a lot of like skate videos growing up and the Tony Hawk video games and things like that. Like
Hmm.
all that whole skateboarding culture exposed me to so much music just because it was always around, right? So that's where I developed my music taste from. But yeah, those are probably some of my favorites. Definitely NoFX is like the band that first like felt like my thing. You know what I mean? Like everybody when you're growing up finds a band that they're like, that is their band. And for me, I was maybe 12 years old and there was a Christmas where the Christmas list for your parents becomes doesn't become toys and games anymore. It became like all CDs for me. It was like NoFX and Rancid and the Distillers for like 1 year. And NoFX was the first one that I put on that really felt like like this is my band, you know?
Mhm. One of the artists that came to mind as well to the alternative scene was the Bodines. I think they hit it big around what 80s, 90s, or somewhere around there. Now I have a question I
Mhm.
haven't heard from them in a while. They still play in the Milwaukee area, or they just break up?
They still do, well, some of the members play in the Milwaukee area. The Bodines, I think, still are active as a band, but their lead singer is separate, or their former lead singer is separate. And he does a lot of solo performances just in the Milwaukee area. But it's definitely a name that resonates here, right? Like everybody knows the Bodines, they know the Violent Femmes,
Another one,
bands like
yes.
that.
Also, shifting to the other spectrum as well, too. Al Jarreau, the jazz singer, Daryl Sturmer, the
Hmm.
guitarist who plays with Phil Collins and Genesis. And I'm trying to
Yep.
think of another Milwaukee artist that comes to mind right now. I'm stuck on it right now. It's like those are four, and I know there's a fifth somewhere. It's like I can't think who else is there. I'm trying to think.
Eric Benet, the R&B singer, is from Milwaukee. I mean, we've had a couple like hip hop acts that have broken out recently as well, but yeah, like in that whole adult contemporary space. I mean, hey, Liberace was born in West Dallas, was
That was
born right
another
outside of
one. I
Milwaukee.
remember. Yes. I was like, who was that other one? I couldn't think. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But yeah, the Femmes are still active too. They're touring right now. They've just opened up for My Chemical Romance in a stadium, and they're going on tour this fall. So, and they're going to play Milwaukee, which is going to be really cool. And I've been fortunate enough to get to know John Sparrow, the current drummer from the Femmes, and he's been a really great dude to hang out with, and has been super influential on just really actually like on the hip hop scene that we have here. He's been involved with that and trying to get, try and learn more about it, but he's excited by it and we're excited to have him as part of that.
And certainly did as well too. Who is the other up and coming Milwaukee artist, current artist, everything Allen Halas is working with? We'll find out with Allen Halas of breaking and entering the website. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios. Visit online at SoundCloudStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking a budget. SoundCloud Studios is the answer. SoundCloud Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960 or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson Zia has gotten great reviews. And Evil Evan endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes Missing by Mia Molson Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2, Double Expense, Double the Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by a sweet psalmist special Raina Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 quiz of pains and King David's Psalms. The sweet psalmist gives new perspective of David through the Psalms he wrote as the time of shepherd started and complicate your term or relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out the Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, 50 podcast platforms. Heard in over 110 countries. Follow us on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, and more. Also, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and more. Take us with you on any mobile device. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast, t-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson. Great books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. You're here with the multi-time Milwaukee-based music writer, radio host, and podcaster, Allen Halas here on the Mike Wagner Show. And let's talk about your website, Breaking and Entering. How'd you get that name, first of all?
Yeah, so that was the name of the student radio show that I had at Marquette, and we got the name actually because we were originally a podcast. So in 2009, we were going to be a podcast, real early days of it, and didn't know, what we were doing with it. We did a couple episodes. We were said that we were going to do it out of our friend's dorm room because we both lived, my co-host and I both lived off campus, and so we said, like the way that we were going to get in was we were going to do the podcast from our friend's dorm. And she said to us, well, you'll have to call it Breaking and Entering because that's the only way that we're going to let you in to the dorm room to do it. So we did call it that, but we never actually did an episode from their dorm room. We hung out there sometimes, but that was like few and far between. But yeah, so the name stuck though because we kept the website, and it ended up kind of taking a life of its own a little bit. Like you could say that some of these young artists are kind of breaking and entering their way into like mainstream music and things like that. But it was never really intended on being more than just like, well, we needed a name and that was it. Based on that little story of like doing the podcast out of somebody's dorm. So, but that was our first real start with that, and then just kept the name and it stuck. Had a friend design a logo, and
I see that. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah. So, and actually, I'll give you the secret here. This logo is the old Boston store logo from
Oh my
from
goodness! I
way
remember
way
the
back in the
Boston
day.
store. Holy cow!
It is based on that from the 20s. So, but modified to be our own thing. But yeah, that's where that general kind of design came from. But yeah, so yeah, the website is just kept to growing and evolving. And we've covered festivals. We've covered Summerfest here in Milwaukee. I do Lollapalooza in Chicago every year now as press, and I've been very fortunate to keep that relationship going. We've done Riot Fest in Chicago, and all sorts of other things. We do a beat battle for 8 weeks leading up to Summerfest. So we're busy for sure.
And who are some of the artists that you've had on the show, Breaking and Entering?
So we've booked a lot of bands that have eventually gone on to do, some bigger things. We've booked bands like Diet Light here in Milwaukee. We've booked Abby Jean at the time, who went out to New York afterwards and started to make a go of it, of a career out there. The first year that we did a beat battle, the producer that won, his name was Main Key, and he won and then immediately went out to LA and became part of like the music industry out there.
Oh,
Like
wow.
the summer
Okay.
after, yeah, like the summer after he won our tournament, he went out to LA to start making a living there, making music. So, but yeah, we've had a lot of bands come through in the 10 plus years that, we've put them on stages and they've done their own thing, and, we've watched it kind of grow and evolve and change. And that's something that I'm excited that, we can be at least a little bit of that part of Milwaukee music history.
And what'd you say your to success with Breaking and Entering?
I think definitely being just authentic to what we do, right? Like, so the great thing about what I do is that I've told people I cover everything from that big festival level down to somebody that was in their basement making something really cool. Because I was a kid that was in his basement making music, thinking it was really cool. But, when you see talent, being able to recognize that and put that out there is huge. So that's what we've been able to do. That's what I've been able to do as a writer. But still cover the big shows, big festivals, but then treat them very equally, right? Like being able to treat an artist that plays Lollapalooza and Summerfest and all of these things with the same level of respect that you treat somebody that like just made something really cool. I think has been a great equalizer for us, and I think it's something that shows that we actually care about the music that we're covering.
And speaking of music, what's the current scene on Milwaukee like? So, what is the current Milwaukee scene like in music at this point?
There's a lot of really good, talented artists happening, making things happen in Milwaukee. Our indie rock scene right now is on fire. There's a lot of great bands like Bug Moment and Well and Good and Alley Eyes, and there's a lot of bands like that that are just starting to make their names for themselves, but are somebody that's really exciting. On the hip hop side of things, we have really like two hip hop scenes here. There's one that lives more on YouTube and they just kind of push out they put out videos nonstop and they're really great quality looking videos. So we have artists like, Big Frank and Certified Trapper and things like that that came out of Milwaukee. But then we also have really lyrical guys too. Artists like Von Alexander and artists like Mo City and Paper Stacks and even real talented freestylers like Tayamo Denku. Like no matter where you go, no matter what neighborhood you go into, there is a pocket of Milwaukee music that is not only reflective of the different neighborhoods in the city, but also reflective of just like the talent that is happening in Milwaukee right now.
hmm and also too, where's the best place to go? Locally to catch some Milwaukee acts. Like somebody visits Milwaukee, where are some of the favorite places to go?
For sure. My favorite venue to send people to in Milwaukee is the Cactus Club in Bayview because it is the club that is closest to me. It's where I live. It's only about a 10-minute drive from me. But it's artist run and it is owned by Kelsey Kaufman. She does an amazing job of being very inclusive of the styles of music that she books. She'll book music that challenges you a little bit. Like we'll accept, bands from all over the world that are touring. Another one that's really great is X-Ray Arcade in Milwaukee. It's in the Cudahy area. It's an all ages venue. They book a lot of rock, a lot of metal. They're not afraid to try things too and be weird. But then, like the whole River West neighborhood has tons of great places like Linneman's and Jazz Gallery, where Jazz Gallery is much more than just jazz itself. And Linneman's has been a fixture since the Violent Femmes days as well too. So those clubs are the heartbeat of what makes it happen. And they're smaller clubs, but that's where the most exciting stuff I think is happening.
And besides with the break-in entering website as well too, that your show is heard weekly on FM 102.1 as host of Love Local Radio.
Yeah, so this is a newer thing for me. It's only about a few months old at this point, but every Friday night at 9 p.m., you can hear me on FM 1021 in Milwaukee. I get to play an hour of Milwaukee music, and I get to play bands that I really like, and artists that send their music to me. So I get to showcase them and put them on the station. And for that 1 hour, we are all local focused, and it's cool. We get to interview an artist every week. It's something I get to control the playlist on it, so it's totally up to me and what I want to play. And we take that journey a little bit and we see what's out there and expose some new bands to a really wide ranging audience.
And which Milwaukee band or artist you think right now is on the verge, maybe this close to really breaking through in the national scene at this
Oh,
time?
that's tough. That's tough. There's like four or five that are really close to breaking out at this point. Diet Light to me just has a unique perspective of what they do. They have really a great energy about them. They have a buzz about them. They also know how to work the internet and be really good on social media, and like they can create a buzz for themselves as well. But they've got some great opportunities recently. Another one is Social Sig. It's a singer-songwriter, Parker Schultz. He does some great stuff. And there's also a band called Scam Likely that are they're in Chicago now, but they were from Milwaukee originally. And they're another one that just write incredibly good songs and they're getting their music out to the right people.
And certainly did as well, too. You also co-host of a podcast. We'll find out 1 minute with Allen Halas. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Moses Missing. This week's psalm is by Serena Wagner, based on the life of Dave, including Theories, Quiz of Pains, and King David Psalms. Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. We'll be back with the multi-talented Milwaukee-based Allen Halas after this timeout. We're back with Milwaukee-based music writer, radio host, and podcaster Allen Halas here on the Mike Wagner Show. We talked about breaking and entering, which is the website. I forgot to ask you, what is the name of the website? I forgot to ask you that.
The website is breakingandentering.net. So that's where we can go to find all the Milwaukee music that's happening. So you can also find my stuff on Milwaukee.com too. I write about larger scale concerts and events there too.
Okay, and plus you also co-host of podcast called Hustling Sideways. Tell us more about that one.
Yeah, so this is a fun one. This is something that we started in 2021. The Hustling Sideways podcast is about having a job and having a side hustle on the side of it, outside of your 9 to 5.
Just like
It
most of
really
us, we be proud of it. Many of us do that.
hmm It really came out of a friend of mine, Jim Love, is as a motivational speaker and a keynote speaker, in addition to his regular job. I, for a long time, in addition to when I was working at the bank, was also writing about music on the side and trying to make my company run. And I still operate my company. It's about learning about how people are able to not only manage their time, but all the different hurdles that you go through, and hearing people's stories of building their business up, and what they created too. So for me, it was things like I would interview a rock star, but it would be only in that like 15-minute break that I had from work. So I would walk out of the bank when I used to work at a bank, go sit in my car in my like 96 Oldsmobile, and I would call up a rock star that I had a scheduled interview with. We would talk for 15 minutes, and I would walk right back into the bank as if nothing happened, and nobody else knew, that I had just talked to like a lead singer of a band, or like even my first celebrity interview was Weird Al Yankovic. Like they had no idea that I sat in a car for 15 minutes and talked to that person, and then I had to go back to, filing my marketing job and doing the things that I needed to do afterwards.
A 96
So
old, that's really convenient. I gotta say that. I wish I had 96 olds.
Well, when I had it, it was like 20 years old at that point, and nothing worked on it. But it was a family car growing up, and it was a car that got us through college too. But yeah, the whole podcast is about just having a job and a side hustle and something that you're passionate about and something that you believe in and trying to make it work. Because I think there are so many people out there now that have side hustles, and especially like working from home, have learned how to manage their time and do multiple things at once. And maybe those worlds kind of don't connect at first, but it's about the lessons you kind of learn along the way.
And who are some of the biggest interviews that you've had in your career? Besides where Yankovic's first one, who are some of the biggest interviews that you've had?
So I've been able to interview both Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons from Kiss. I've gotten to talk to them twice. That was a big interview for me because growing up, I listened to the band Kiss when I was really really little because I saw them
Oh
on a
my
cartoon when
goodness!
I was a
Yes, I
kid.
think a lot of
Yeah,
us did that. So
yeah. So that's been a big interview. The band Franz Ferdinand. That was a really cool interview that I got to do. I'm trying to think who else that we've had that's been like a really really big significant one for me. But we've been at Lollapalooza every year. We've interviewed Young Gravy before Young Gravy was ever like a really big star. Um, yeah, just tons and tons of interviews. Who else? Bands like A Day to Remember. I've interviewed like and things outside of music too. I've been able to interview, WWE wrestlers and baseball players and things like that. So all sorts of fun things along the way too.
how
Yeah.
about from the Brewers? Speaking of baseball,
Yeah, I actually just got to do a short little press conference with Ryan Braun and Carlos Gomez about an event that they're doing here in Milwaukee. Both Brewers alumni now, but they're doing an event that's coming up in Milwaukee. So it was a press pool thing with them, but it's cool to ask them and ask them some questions and get to meet them.
okay. And what would you consider your biggest, greatest achievement you've ever accomplished?
For me, I think it is honestly being able to keep our website up and running for, 10 plus years now.
Hmm.
Um, that's not easy to do to run a media website for as long as we've run it. There have definitely been years where it was not profitable to do it. And but just being able to manage that and still continue to do what I do in my own unique way. Um, because I do work for a larger media outlet and then I have my small media outlet, and I've always been able to do things in a way that nobody has ever asked me to get rid of my thing, which has been great. Nobody has ever asked me to say, "Hey, can you stop doing breaking and entering because you work for us too." They've always found it as an asset. So being able to be a new voice in Milwaukee media and get my presence out there has been something that has been a huge accomplishment for me.
And that's a big one as well, too. And where can we find your website again?
So the website is breakingandentering.net.
Breakingandentering.net. We'll certainly have everybody check that out. Here at the monthly town, Milwaukee-based music writer, radio host, and podcaster, Allen Halas here on the Mike Wagner Show. Alan, just a few more things. What else can we expect from you 2025 and beyond?
So we've got some exciting things on the horizon right now. We're going to be working with in August. We'll be doing the Hip Hop Week with the city of Milwaukee. We're going to have Ninth Wonder, who is a big producer from. He's produced for Jay-Z. He's been part of a group called Little Brother that was super important. He's going to be part of our Hip Hop Week beat battle that we're doing. So he's going to be a judge for that. And then the next night, we're going to have a show at the Rave in Milwaukee, where the finals are going to be, which is a huge venue. It's probably the largest venue that we've done. And then Benny the Butcher, who's a nationally acclaimed rapper, is going to be performing right after our beat battle, which is going to be really cool.
And,
So,
and that sounds like it as well, too. Who do you consider biggest influence in a career?
ooh, biggest influence in a career. So I'm a follower of Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a business oriented. He's all about hustle. For a long time he was a serial entrepreneur kind of guy. I watch a lot of his stuff on YouTube, but then I actually go out and enact that too, which is like what some of his people don't do. But yeah, I think biggest influences too are like also like all the punk rockers that I grew up watching, right? People that were able to do their own thing and they didn't let anybody stop them from something. That I think to me is what punk rock is that ability to say, I'm still gonna do what I want to do, and do it in my own unique way. And you're just gonna have to be cool with it. And so that to me has been a big influence, just punk rock and skateboarding in general, more than maybe any one person has been an influence on me.
And certainly as well. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
To anybody that's starting to write or
In general,
create,
in general.
um, I think don't lose sight of, the biggest probably, okay, the biggest advice that I would give to somebody that is just starting out and creating things is don't lose sight of why you're doing this in the first place. So, whatever that end goal is for you, don't let that shift, don't let that change, don't let somebody else shift that for you. You can do it on your own terms. And so I'm learning that, and that's something that, it's never easy to do, but don't shift why you originally started something in the first place.
And I think that's great advice at this time as well. With the multi-talented Allen Halas, Milwaukee-based music writer, radio host, and podcaster, breaking and entering here on the Mike Wagner Show. Alan, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learning a lot. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. What's your website? How do people contact you? And where can people just check out your works?
Sure. The best place to find everything that I'm doing is on social media everywhere. I'm at Allen Halas, ALLENHALAS. It's the easiest place to find all of my stuff because I'm sharing links constantly to everything that I'm doing.
All right. Well, certainly check that out. Once again, Alan, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. We wish you all the best. And Alan, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike.